The US Secretary of State John Kerry has arrived in Vienna for talks on Iran's nuclear program. The aim is to reach an agreement with Iran that ends sanctions against the country in exchange for limits on its nuclear activities. Talks are expected to continue past the deadline, though, with the West demanding UN inspectors have access to Iranian military sites. Ahmad Shanas is an Iranian political analyst and a journalist, and he joins us now from Tehran. Many thanks for your time tonight. What is the mood as to whether this deal is going to be struck, even if it does go beyond the deadline?
Well, for the negotiations, the Iranian team is ready to negotiate as long as it takes until they will reach a deal that will satisfy the Iranian people, mainly the removal of the sanctions, the economical sanctions of Iran. The issue of inspecting the Iranian military sites is not acceptable by the Iranians, not by the Iranians, even any country in the world which accepts, has dignity, will not allow a foreign country to enter its military sites for investigation, especially that the Iranians have had a bad experience with IAEA since some spies came in through the IAEA and security issues were revealed through IAEA to the Iranian enemies, mainly to the United States and to Israel, and the Iranian scientists were killed according to this information, which went out through IAEA.
So it sounds like there's still quite a lot of distrust on behalf of the Iranian side. How badly, though, have sanctions affected people in Iran?
Excuse me, I didn't hear the question.
How badly have the sanctions hit people in Iran?
Well, of course, the sanctions affect the economy and affect the people. But according to all the statistics that right now are made on the Iranian economy, the main problem right now is not the main problem on the economy is not the sanctions, because throughout the past 4 or 5 years, Iranians were able to find ways to turn over the sanctions. The main problem is the malmanagement in the Iranian government and the management. So if the government focuses on the management issues, more than 80% of the problems will be solved, while removing the sanctions will only solve about 20% of the problems Iranian economy is facing.
I wonder, Ahmad, what the mood around the region, the difficulties around the region at the moment with IS and so much terror activity and I guess turmoil. How does that affect people's view on whether they should have nuclear capabilities?
Well, you see, right now the differences in the negotiations are mainly on the issue of removal of the sanctions. And, well, the Iranian negotiating team has to come back with a deal which has the removal of sanctions in it. Clearly written that sanctions are going to be removed. Otherwise, this deal, any kind of a deal that they will make with P5+1 and the removal of sanctions is not inside that deal, well, it will be meaningless for the Iranian people. And the people will say, well, will tell the negotiating team, what were you doing there? you went there to remove the sanctions. If you were not able to remove sanctions, so what did you do there?
Yes, and
so this is the main thing that the people are asking the government, the negotiating team.
And of course, Israel remains something of a stumbling block in the sense that they are very opposed to any deal being struck.
Well, of course, Israel and Saudi Arabia are trying their best to stop any kind of a deal that will happen between Iran and the Western countries, mainly between Iran and the West, and Iran and the United States, because they don't want the relations between Iran and the Western countries to go towards the normal state, to have a normal state. They are afraid of this issue because, they are afraid that if Iran will have good relations with the Western countries, this would mean a stronger Iran in the region, and maybe in future the Western countries, the United States, will count more on Iran than counting on Saudi Arabia, for example. So they are trying their best to stop such a deal.
Ahmad Abshanasa, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.